Hello, it's your friendly neighborhood gift lines here. During the coronavirus outbreak, I'm home, self-quarantined for a few weeks now. Wanted to put out another video, and this one again being about electric skateboards, and in particular my Backfire Mini, which I absolutely love. So I'll get right into it and show you the board. I know there's been unveiling videos, unboxing videos, etc. But yeah, this is kind of just more of like an overview, and after about a month's use, etc. like that. So there's the board. I'm going to back up a bit, show you. It is quite small. I'm 6'3", but if you've skated before, if you know how to ride a regular board, very similar, because you can still push it like a regular board. It rolls, very, very well. It coasts, which something like a Backfire Ranger or an off-road board does not do. One little modification that I did was I put, if you can call it that, I put a tail protector on it, which came with my AE board version 2. It's carbon fiber, it's a beautiful board. You see there's the power switch right there. Turn it on for you. And this is the gasket for charging. Kind of like a heat sink here, but you can see the carbon fiber weave, right? I did mount a shred light on the front. I had to bend the bracket a bit, but because as you can see, it's carbon fiber, so it's kind of like a pocket where the trucks sit in. But yeah, and I put a few of those, my favorite little reflective stickers on it there and on the side. As you can't really see it, but at night it helps light it up. But yeah, so I turned it on, and I want to show you just a regular skateboard to get an idea of the sense. Here's my skateboard, and I have kind of longboard wheels on them. As you can see, these are quite larger. These are 83 millimeters that the Backfire Mini comes with. And as far as length, they're almost identical. My traditional skateboard is just maybe about 2 inches longer. So when I lay it down on the ground, so it feels like a regular skateboard, except it's about 13 pounds. So much heavier than a regular board, but still a lot lighter than your average, for instance, Backfire Ranger, which is closer to 30 pounds, 35 pounds, or a longboard. It's got a kicktail, so you can kick it up really nice. Again, I said it's carbon fiber. It's very, very smooth. The battery is on the top, which I don't really like because that can be a tray for water. And it has Phillips screws to take it out. I really wish the battery was mounted in the bottom in the carbon fiber and you could pop it out that way. But as it is, it's all right. And this really helps the protector, the kicktail, because when you do kick it up, I was scratching up my carbon fiber, right? And if I had a carbon fiber Porsche or Ferrari or whatever is made out of carbon fiber, I wouldn't want to scratch it up. So yeah, I think it's a great idea to get that and put a light on it. I'm going to show you the remote too. This is the same remote as the Backfire Ranger X1. It's blinking there because my board is a little bit low. So far I've put about 35 miles on the board, so really not quite a lot. Again, with the quarantine, self-quarantine and social distancing, etc. going on right now with coronavirus, I haven't been riding it as much, and I haven't ridden to work yet. So yeah, it's very similar. It has a sport mode, which I always ride it on, and an eco mode. Oops, let me put this down so I can show you what I'm talking about. 35 miles, sport and eco. So there's the little S there, and there's the E for economy. Economy is quite slow once you're up and going. I mean, it's really nice to just kind of coast around, but it's only about 11 miles an hour. There's even a turbo mode, which I don't really mess with, but it's supposed to give you just a few seconds of extra boost, etc. I don't really play with it. The board is quite fast as it is in sport mode. You could change it, of course, from kilometers to miles per hour, which I did, and distance. And you can see there's an odometer too for when so I'm running in the corner there. Eventually that odometer would go up for how long it's been on. Yeah, it's a really comfortable remote. It's again the same for my Backfire Ranger, except this one has a gray lanyard as opposed to a black. And I recommend if you have two of these things, you can label them Mini so that you don't get confused. And there's a little finger hole there, and this works fine with my gloves on. With my Flatland 3D gloves, I can still use this little thumb. It's got incredible brakes, this thing. I'm going to shut off the remote now and shut off the board. It's 83 millimeter wheels, and I pulled up on my other phone here. I wanted to pull up some stats just so I can read them off to you in case you were thinking about buying it. Comes with a charger, again very similar to the Ranger X1 charger that I have. I think it's a little bit different on the amperes. It seems to charge much quicker, but also it does have a smaller battery. So let me read off some stats to you there. The board length is 790 millimeters, and I'm not so certain about millimeters with inches, but again, if you ride a standard skateboard, an adult side skateboard like I just showed, it's very similar to that. And the width is 225 millimeters. As far as the battery, the little pop-up for their social media just got in the way of it, so let's skip that. It's two 450 watt hub motors, so on the back wheels is a motor. That's why there's no belts. Motor's right inside, which I love. If you noticed I haven't put a lot of videos, but all the boards that I've bought from the let's say the juiced board that I had, a single and then a dual, the EE board version 1, the EE board version 2, even the Backfire Ranger, and now the Mini, they're all hub motors. And I love that because I can actually just push the board, except for the Ranger, because there's a really big rolling resistance. But all of those boards with traditional skateboard wheels, 83 millimeters, 96, 90 millimeter, whatever, polyurethane wheels, you can push them. So you can push them to save battery while you're riding, or you can push them if the battery runs out. So there you go. It's a little heavier than a skateboard, sure, but with the kicktail, you've got a lot of maneuverability. It's wonderful. So two 450 watt hub motors. It's 21700 battery. Again, the social media popped up as soon as I scrolled. There we go. 21700 battery cells. 12S 50.4 volt high voltage and high efficiency. It's ultra lightweight. It says it's 6 kilograms, which is probably, like I said, about 13 pounds, give or take. It's 180 days warranty, which isn't a lot, but a lot of these boards don't have much more than that. Carbon fiber deck, like I said, with a kicktail. It's pretty great. It does hug your feet pretty well. I ride it like I do a traditional skateboard. My longboard, I kind of step both of them on the trucks. My Ranger, and when I had my AE board and all that. But on this one, I keep my front foot a little bit farther than I would on my traditional skateboard, and my back foot, I keep it kind of mostly toes on the board. Sometimes I put the whole foot on, so I can kick it in case I need to quickly maneuver, which I love about the smaller board. So this battery is a Samsung 21700 40T battery. All right, 450 watt, like I said, dual motors. Give it a 42 kilometer top speed. I'm 6'3" and about 185 pounds. I put on a few pounds probably over the coronavirus outbreak, so maybe I'm about at 190 now. I regularly do 22 miles an hour. That to me seems to be the top. If I hit the turbo mode, and I've only done it really once or twice, I can get it up to about 25. And down hills I've gone faster. But on a flat with no wind and things, I'm doing basically 22 miles an hour. So they kind of overextend their speed, if you ask me. If you're a little smaller than me, you're 160 pounds, 150 pounds, you probably can do 25 miles an hour. This thing really flies. The acceleration is insane. So I love it. It talks about the remote a little bit too. I showed you that, the turbo mode. I just want to read if there's anything about, there's just reviews. I wanted to read about the battery, but I think that they claim 11-mile range on the battery on econo mode. Well, I got the board and I've been riding it around Brooklyn, but I haven't taken it on a long haul, like for instance to work, which I want to do eventually. But my work is 8.5 miles from my door to the door of my office. 8.5 miles, and that's in Midtown Manhattan. So the Backfire Ranger, which I'll do a video on maybe again another time, but that one will get there with sometimes half a battery left. So that is a lot of range. It's about 20 miles probably range on that board, right? I top speed and I fly flat out on that thing. This is faster, like I said, quicker acceleration, lighter, but the battery's a lot smaller. But it does have a benefit where, of course, regenerative braking when you hold down the brakes. So if I come across, let's say, the Williamsburg Bridge or even the Manhattan Bridge, Brooklyn is all wood and slats, so you can't do that. You can brake, basically. Down hills, you can brake and use it as a chance to recharge your battery. And I recommend you do, because the rolling resistance is there's so little rolling resistance, you can really, really coast. So to get the most out of it, I'm going to try to take it to work, and I'll hopefully have a GoPro by that time, but I want to see at full speed. Of course, I'll kick from a stoplight. I'll brake going down a hill. Sorry, I'm getting text. And I want to see what kind of range I really get in the sport mode, because I'm never really going to ride it in econo mode. For me, that's only if the battery is really going to die and I'm looking down. There's a battery indicator and a charger indicator on the charger. When it's really going to run out of battery, then I'd probably ride it in econo mode. But other than that, I'm always going to ride it, in the sport mode, even if I'm not cranking out at 22 miles an hour. The board feels really comfortable at 18, 19 miles an hour. Again, I'm 6'3", so I'm quite tall for a short board, but I've skated for forever, since the 80s. So I do feel at home on it. But yeah, you're more, you have to be more careful with rocks and debris in the road, because the wheels are a little smaller at 83. I wish they were like 90 millimeter. I even thought that it came with them, like one of the Backfire, G3T or G2T or something. And I said, could you please, put it with the larger batteries? Because I thought the larger wheels. I thought it came with the large and the small. It didn't. It only comes with one size. And the guy wrote back to me very kindly from Backfire. No, Jordan, it only comes with the 83 millimeters, so we can avoid wheel bite and stuff. So yeah. Other than that, the thing feels good. I ride it. I've only got 30 something miles on it, so I'm just getting used to it. The speed is incredible. I like to say that my Backfire Ranger is like a Cadillac, and then the Backfire Mini is like a Ferrari. You know what I mean? So just think about that. The Cadillac, of course, very comfortable. It has some power, but it doesn't have a lot of acceleration. It has some torque. You can get up hills and things, and it's a powerful big engine, but mostly suspension is comfortable and kind of floats if you've ever driven a Cadillac, especially the Cadillacs that I'm talking about from like the mid 90s and late 80s, right? And a Ferrari, which I've never driven, but I can only imagine, very tactile, quick, efficient power, just gets up to speed really quickly. It's got a nice quiet kind of rolling, just a nice quiet, sorry, I'm getting texts, rolling down the street, and it's just a wonderful board. I can't recommend it enough. I think right now it's $599 for the Mini. And there's also in this category I looked at, but I didn't decide to go for it, was the Meepo board. There's a few other out there. Of course, there is the $799 Boosted Board Mini, which I believe Boosted's going out of business. But having a proven track record with everybody saying how good they love their G2Ts and their G23s and Backfire Ranger, which I own, I felt confident spending $600 on the Mini. And when I'm going on anything kind of around the neighborhood within a 5 to 10 mile range, I usually am taking the Mini now. The Ranger, I need to change the rear back tires after 800, 900 miles. The tires get kind of thin in the back, so it's time to do that. It's also 35 pounds, the Ranger. So when you want to just get around the neighborhood, the Mini just makes a lot more sense. It's very quick. You're probably not going to want to ride at top speed, just to let you know. Don't underestimate the board. I did last week. I braked too hard from top speed, and I wiped out, and I slammed on my hip and my shoulder. So yeah, don't underestimate this board. It's incredible. I'm gonna have to do a full range test and see if I go fast on the throttle, I ride in sport mode, but yet I'm also braking going down hills and trying to recharge the battery, how much range I can get, if I can get the 8.5 miles from my door to my office once hopefully the coronavirus break happens and we can get back to the office. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in another video. Give lines out. Take care.